Hello, Willow Creek Racers. My name is Matt. I'm one of the race directors and owners of the Mountain Swim Series. If you're watching this video, hopefully you are swimming with us this Saturday, August 3rd, out at Willow Creek Reservoir, that's outside of Granby, Colorado. This is the first year we're hosting this race, so we're really excited about it, and we will hopefully make it go off without any hiccups at all. But we're going to cover a lot of information in this short video, so I'll give you a quick outline for what you can expect to know by the end of this video. I'll talk about the 3 different race distances, the race course, different buoy colors, the swim direction, and then we'll talk about logistics for packet pickup, when you should arrive, race cutoff times, race start times, and packet pickups. I'll talk a little bit about where you can park once you get to the venue, and most importantly, how to be safe out there on the water and what you can bring to this event to make sure you are as comfortable and prepared as possible. So, without further ado, why don't we just jump on in? If you are watching and you have 2 different screens, then I would urge you to listen to this video while also checking out our website, which is mountainswimseries.com. Now, on mountainswimseries.com, if you go over to the Willow Creek race, at the very top of that page, there's a map that shows the race course. So I'm going to talk through that. Our 3 different distances all have something different going on in this course. This course that you see, very, very elongated rectangle, is a 2-mile course. That means our 1-mile swimmers are only going to be doing a half of a lap. Our 2-mile swimmers are going to be doing a full lap of this course, and our 5K swimmers are going to be doing 1.5 or 1.5 laps. So let's talk about those specific laps and buoys that you can expect to see out there. Now, on this map, if you're on our website, on the east side of the reservoir, or the right side of this picture, you'll see 2 orange circles. Those, on race day, will be orange pyramid-looking buoys. And those are the start to our race, okay? Just to the left of those, the yellow circles you see on this map will be yellow pyramid-looking buoys. Those are just for sighting. Now, a little bit to the left of that on the map, you'll see some green circles. The day of the race, those are actually going to be orange globes. So, for you 1-mile swimmers, you'll start on the shore towards the bottom right of that map that you're looking at. You'll swim directly outwards because this is a counterclockwise course. You will make a left at that first orange pyramid-looking buoy. You'll head to the west, sighting off of the yellow pyramid buoys. And then when you get to the orange globe-looking buoys is when you'll make another left-hand turn. You'll swim across the course, and you'll make another left-hand turn when you come to that second orange globe buoy. And then you'll head right on back to the right or to the east to finish up your race. And you'll pass that yellow pyramid buoy for sighting on the way, and then one more orange pyramid buoy before you get all the way back to the shore. So that's our course for our 1-mile swimmers, 1/2 of a lap. Our 2-mile swimmers, you are doing 1 full lap. So you'll pass that first orange pyramid buoy, the yellow pyramid buoys for sighting, and then instead of turning around at that orange globe buoy, you'll swim straight past it. You'll see another set of yellow pyramid buoys. And then as you go to the left on this map, or to the west, all the way over in the channel, you'll see 2 more orange pyramid buoys. And that's where you 2-mile swimmers will do your turnaround. On the way back, you'll pass those yellow pyramid buoys for sighting, the orange globe-looking buoys, another set of yellow pyramid buoys as you swim to the east, and then finally 1 more orange pyramid buoy before you make it back to shore and complete your 2-mile swim. For our 5K swimmers, you will do 1 full lap that I just described for the 2-mile swim, and then you'll go back out and you'll do another half of a lap, which is what the 1-mile swimmers started with. So, 5K swimmers, you have 2 options. As you finish your first full lap, 2 miles, you can either come onto shore and get nutrition if you would like. You can keep bottles or food or anything you would like right near the start line and label them and come onto shore to grab that nutrition before you head out for your other lap. If you don't need that, then you can just go straight to that first orange pyramid buoy where you are making your first left-hand turn of the race, and you'll do about a 180-degree turn and go back out for that last mile or your half lap to finish up the 5K. Now, let's talk about logistics. And I forgot to mention at the start of this video a very important piece. If you still have questions after watching this video, check out our website. There's a lot of details on there. But if that doesn't answer your question, shoot us an email. It is mountainswimseries@gmail.com. Pretty easy to find us. So let's talk about logistics for packet pickup. Now, day of the race, because this is a staged race, people will be arriving at different times. Our 1 mile swimmers, your race starts at 9:30 a.m. So your packet pickup will be between the hours of 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. Our 2 mile and our 5K swimmers, you guys will have packet pickup between 9:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. And your race starts at 11 a.m. Let's talk about cutoff times. Our 1 mile swimmers, you have 1 hour to complete your course. Because we start your race at 9:30 a.m., you need to be out of the water by 10:30 a.m. Our 2 mile swimmers, you have 2 hours to complete your race. So you start at 11 a.m., you need to be done by 1 p.m. And our 5K swimmers, you have 3 hours. So you need to be done by 2 p.m. because you start at 11 a.m. with those 2 mile swimmers. Now, for packet pickup, what you will receive is a t-shirt that was designed by one of our sponsors, Elliott Lang Illustrations. We're excited about that. And a swim cap with your specific color for the race. And we will have those race cap colors designated the morning of the race, where you will be handed that specific cap color. You will also be asked to confirm your choice to wear or not wear a wetsuit. That leads us to the next important point, which is water temperature. Water temperature, we're expecting this weekend, could be anywhere between 67 degrees to 70 degrees. There's some pretty big temperature shifts up in the high country as it gets really cold at night and potentially very hot during the day. We're glad to be starting this race a little bit later in the day, so hopefully it warms up just a little bit for you. But that's a really important safety consideration for you swimmers. If you have not trained in water under 70 degrees, then make sure you get out and try that in the next couple of days. Similarly, if you have never worn a wetsuit before, race day is not the first time to put on a wetsuit. Wetsuits have a lot of complicating factors for a swimmer, and I'll talk about how to mitigate any risk factors a little bit later in this video. But race day is not the time to try something new. So if you're not comfortable with this cold water, or if you're not comfortable with a wetsuit, don't change it to something new on race day. Now, we've already talked about our packet pickup, our race start times, and our cutoff times. So let's talk about parking. Parking at Willow Creek Reservoir is going to be on the southeast side of the reservoir, right near where the race starts. So you'll enter and you'll go drive straight past the campground area to the east until you find our signs for parking. There's a big parking lot right where the race will be starting, and we highly encourage carpooling so we don't take up all of those spots. But if those spots do fill up, then there will be ample parking, overflow parking along the road that you can easily find. While we don't recommend you drive your sports car with a 2-inch clearance, you shouldn't need any sort of big 4-wheel drive capable truck in order to access this site. Now, next thing to discuss is safety on the water. If you've swam with us at the Mountain Swim Series before, then you know that our number one priority is safety. And I'm not kidding when I say if you get into the water on Saturday, you will also get out of the water under your own volition. That is my number one priority. It's closely followed by having a lot of fun, but safety is my number one priority for every single race. So let's talk about how you can be safest as swimmers. We already talked just a second ago about the water temperature and how wetsuits can be constricting. If you've never worn a wetsuit before, again, race day is not the first time to put one on. It's okay to put a wetsuit on and practice in a pool to get used to it. I would highly recommend you all do that if you're planning on wearing a wetsuit. But wetsuits can be really constricting, especially at altitude when we get out of breath quickly. So if you are planning on wearing a wetsuit this Saturday and you get in the water and you're starting to feel a little constricted, maybe around the neck, around the chest, then we recommend a couple of things. The first is always know that your best line of defense is helping yourself. If you're wearing a wetsuit, roll over on your back, put your chin up to the sky, and let the wetsuit do its job that you bought it for, which is to help you float and stay warm. Now, if you're having a little bit of a panic, then we tend to dip our chin and look upwards. That will just make our hips sink, and it will make it more challenging for you to float. So if you're having that challenge, lay on your back, chin up, and float for a while you get control of your heart rate and your breath. While you're floating with your chin back and your head back, this is a good opportunity to maybe pull down on the neck of your wetsuit a little bit. Let a little water in and let that constriction loosen up a little bit. The other option is to unzip your wetsuit. If it zips in the back or the front, allow it to free up your chest a little bit. That can always help. Now, out on the course, there will be kayakers and stand-up paddleboarders for your safety as well. If you feel at any point during the race that you are having a tough time and you need a rest or you just need a little bit of support, swim straight over to one of those kayaks or stand-up paddleboarders, and gently you can place your hand on either the tip or the tail of that watercraft. If you swim up to those people who are there for your safety and you really heavily grab the kayak and pull down right next to where they're sitting, then they're going to go in the water with you. And I don't want our volunteers to go swimming when they signed up to volunteer, not swim. So feel free to go over to them, catch your breath, get some aid if you need it, but please don't be very aggressive. Be kind to those volunteers. They're there to help you, and you will not be disqualified for using those safety tools. We want you guys to be safe as you're out there swimming. Now, you can rest as long as you need. Those volunteers will tell us back on shore via radio that you're either needing some help or you want to get out or you are just catching your breath and you're going to keep swimming, so we can keep our eyes on you and monitor you throughout the race. Now, if you're, let's say, in the middle of the race and you don't see a stand-up paddleboarder or a kayaker near you, then it's always okay to swim towards one of our buoys as well. Maybe take your cap off and wave it in the air. That lets those safety volunteers know that you need help. They will paddle over to you and they can either give you a flotation device or allow you to hold on to their watercraft for more safety. Now, because we're in Colorado in the summer, we never know what to expect from our weather. In the instance where we have bad weather rolling through, then all of our kayakers will have very loud whistles, and they will start blowing their whistles long and loudly. If you hear that from wherever you are in the race, then you need to swim to the closest piece of land. That's likely going to be on the south side of the reservoir, and get there as soon as you can. When we're considering these weather issues, we might have lightning, we might have hail even, and if that's the case and you hear those whistles, please get yourself out of the water as soon as possible. We can control as much as we possibly can, but sadly we can't control the weather. And like I said, safety is our number one priority. So if we have to get you out, it's always for your own safety. Now, one of the other pieces is that about halfway through the course on the south side of the reservoir, there will be EMTs and paramedics. They will also be at our start line for us to help you if you're having any sort of medical emergency. If you happen to get yourself out of the race on one of the shorelines and it's not at the start or finish line, you absolutely have to come back to the start line and tell the race director that you have exited the race and you have a do not finish. It's totally okay if that happens, but you need to let us know that you exited the race early or anywhere besides the start and stop line. This doesn't really have to do with your placing. This has to do with your safety. At the end of the day, we're checking to make sure everyone who got in the water also got out of the water. And if I check my list and I see names on there who did not exit the water, that's where we have to call in our rescue divers. And if you're just happen to have gotten out early and you're driving back to home without telling one of us, it's a really major problem. So please, good communication with the race directors. Always let us know if you have to get out early, if you're dropping down in race distance, or just any other health concerns that you have throughout the race. Now, what you guys should bring to prepare as best as possible is our last thing to talk about in this video. The first one is warm liquids. Our water temperature is going to be pretty cold, and although we're expecting a warm air temperature in the high 70s to mid 80s even, if you are really cold and you get out of the water and you're experiencing any sort of hypothermia, the fastest way to warm up your body is from the inside first as well as the outside. So if you're really cold, we're going to have wool blankets for you, but we want you to also be bringing warm liquids, whether that's in a really good thermos so it stays warm, or maybe you bring a camping stove or a jet boil, something like that. We'll have warm liquids there as well for your support and your comfort, but please come prepared with warm liquids. I personally always like to start all of my open water swims taking a couple of gulps of warm tea before I start. Helps me get nice and warm. A little bit of caffeine can also be helpful. Now, also bringing warm clothes to wear before you start the race and after the race. As soon as you get out of the water, getting warm as soon as possible is incredibly important. We usually try to shy away from cotton clothes, so things that are athletic wear or wool are your best option. And that's because as soon as cotton gets wet, it's not going to help your body thermoregulate at all. And we want you to get warmer, not stay cold. Now, the last piece to consider for you guys is goggles. Now, during an open water swim like this, there's a lot of different considerations. The water's going to be dark, but there will also be bright sun, most likely. So, when we think about outdoor swimming, we usually like to think about wearing some mirrored goggles that will allow you to have some reflection of the sun so you can see where you're going towards all of those buoys, but maybe not the darkest goggles ever, because otherwise when you look down in the lake, it's going to be pretty darn dark. Now, if you know you don't have any issue looking up and into the sun, then wearing non-mirrored or non-tinted goggles is totally okay, but that's just one more consideration. Similar to a wetsuit, you should not be wearing a new pair of goggles for the first time on race day. You should have swam with them at least 2 or 3 times in a pool is okay, or open water, to make sure they fit your face, they're not going to leak, and you know you can see well out of the goggles. So that covers all of the major points for the race this Saturday, August 3rd, at the Willow Creek Reservoir. We're really excited to see you guys. We'll cover a couple of these topics again the morning of the race. So if you have questions, email us. Again, that's mountainswimseries@gmail.com, or you can always ask the morning of the race. We will have, after the race, like I mentioned, warm liquids, some snacks and goodies for everyone, and then we'll do awards afterwards. We are so excited to have this new event for everyone, and we can't wait to see you out there this Saturday, August 3rd.